Hey everybody, this is Tony Ross for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit. And this is part two of the last day of the summit. I am your host with who has sounded and felt better. We have coming up this hour, we're going to be playing our last interview from an awesome artist, illustrator, animation director, and animator, Mr. Robert Valley. Robert Valley, in case you don't know, actually does some really cool animation, and a lot of the stuff he does, he's animating in Photoshop, so it's pretty cool. Also, if you haven't seen it already, he did in Love, Death, and Robots, season one. It was what's that called? Zima Blue. Hey Darren, I'm not feeling totally better yet, which brings me to the other thing. The plan was that I was going to do play Robert's thing and then kind of finish up with doing some more tutorials and stuff like that. But the funny thing is, what I have figured out this week is in the same way that I have my interviews pre-recorded. I think next year when I plan on doing tutorials, I'm going to have some of those pre-recorded because I attempted to do one earlier. It did not go well, so my brain is functioning only on one gerbil right now. So, so that is to say, we're going to I'm going to give away some things in a second here. Wow, where's my time? Where's my clock? Where's my phone? Tony's losing everything. Okay, 107. But yeah, one of the things I need to do, okay. One of the things I'm going to do is go ahead and give some stuff away. I have a few names to throw some things towards. So let me check something really quick. Lots of alarms, lots of ringings, bells. Hey Felicia, how you doing? Yes, I will pre-record. Thank you. If you're wondering, no, a classmate of mine actually just pinged me on Facebook. So yes, I can see you. Wow, what am I doing? Words. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just pulling up a few more. Going to give away some Storyboard Pro licenses here. So, and what I am basically doing is as I said before, I'm just going through our mailing list, and I have a script that's kind of doing its little raffle thing for me. So, when people are asking, do I have to give my real name for this stuff? Like, you kind of have to do something so I know what to call you by, if that makes any sense. All right, so I'm going to dive over here to our program. Is my program opening? Thank you. Alrighty, so I'm going to attempt to pronounce some things correctly. Let's see. How's my script looking? Where's my screen going? Oh yeah, duh. Why are none of the... Wow, those are dark. It's almost as if... Let me figure out what's going on here. Why are those showing up so dark? Yike. Why are my types so dark? So I will tell you while I'm figuring out what's going on with my software. Storyboard Pro Winners. These are annual subscriptions or annual licenses, excuse me. And forgive me if I say these names incorrect. Charmaine Griffiths, Kaylee Geralds, and Cyprian Costa. So I think that's how you pronounce it. Let me think. So yeah, I'm going to be pulling up a little bit more after Mr. Valley. To give a few more. I think I've got a couple more Storyboard Pros to give out, but as well as after Robert, we're going to be giving away some Harmony Premium licenses, as well as we're going to be giving away some Into a Smalls and some Wacom Ones. And our final thing, we're going to give away a Wacom, excuse me, we're going to give a Cintiq, a 16-inch Cintiq. Words. We talk good one day. And once we're done with all that, we're going to call it a day. Because my part is slowly dwindling as far as being able to talk and or teach. So, yes. So, the way this is going to work, I'll be sending you all, I'll send all our winners an email. And, there we go. I'll be sending our winners an email, and you just need to respond to that email with both, I want to say with Toon Boom as well as with Wacom. Wacom, definitely. You are going to have to kind of give your address, so because they need to know where to send your stuff to. So again, our winners for Storyboard Pro. This is an annual license. Charmaine Griffiths, Kaylee Geralds, and Cyprian Costa. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm probably jacking that name up, and I apologize. Meanwhile, let's get to Mr. Robert Valley. Robert and I had a awesome conversation. You're going to see most of it. And again, the full-length videos of all of our panelists will be available next week. Some of them, you've seen the full thing, but for instance, with Ollie, I know ours was like an hour and a half, but each of these has been limited and cut down to like 45 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and share this next one with you. I thought you had Toon Boom lesson courses as well. Yes, that is something we're giving away. Toon Boom is actually giving away, Darren, I think you're asking about the classes. We have 2 of those to give away. All right, so let me go ahead and pull this up.
I told you.
Hey, this is Tony Ross with the 2D Animation Virtual Summit, and I am blessed, honored, and slightly fanboying a little bit that I get to hang out again with the incredibly talented master of Photoshop animation, Mr. Robert Valley. Welcome, dude. I really appreciate you taking out time.
That's a hell of a nice intro you just gave me there.
It's like, it's genuine, man, because it's like, yeah, because your work is like, Because you hear people go like, I'm animating in Photoshop, and then you see the work. Sometimes just like, oh, bless your heart, that's nice. And then I see the stuff that you're doing. I'm like, damn, wait, what did you do? How are we? Wait, what did you do this there? So it's just, yeah. I love your work, man.
I'm ramming a square peg into a round hole all the time. That's how it feels, man. Yeah.
Well, dude, you've been busy. Like I said, I was a fan of your work already, and then with Love, Death, and Robots 1 came out, it was just kind of like, this looks like it could be. This person's probably influenced. Holy crap, that is like looking at Zima Blue. It's like, okay, crap, that's your work. And then I was anxious and got to see, of course, when Ice comes up on Love, Death, and Robots 2. It's like, okay, cool. I'm liking this. And I love that whole little elongated character. And for the people who have no idea who you are, can you give yourself an intro and say, this is what you do, or yada yada yada?
Yeah, well, I'm sort of in that. I don't know if it's the sweet spot, because it might be the opposite of the sweet spot, but I'm sort of somewhere in between comic book and animation.
Okay.
And I basically make all my money doing animation, and then I waste it all doing comic book stuff. So it's just this, But I kind of think that the two things kind of inform each other in a way, and I've always been trying to take the look of graphic novels,
right,
and apply it to animation.
Okay.
And so I've worked on. I've been around for a while. I started working back in 1992. I started working with Peter Chung back then.
Right.
Who gave me my first break in animation. And, I cut my teeth on advertising for a few years, which was good. And then I realized that, advertising really wasn't where it was at. And then I guess, the highlights that I've kind of worked on have been, Flux, which was earlier on. And then I worked on the Gorillaz music videos in some sort of capacity, usually as animator or animation director on some of them. Not the recent ones. I haven't really been involved in that stuff, but, and then, one thing always leads to the other,
Right.
So basically my time at Passion Pictures in London, the Gorillaz work gave way to the next thing, which was working at Disney on Tron Uprising as a character designer. And then that kind of led, there's a few pieces in there, but then I decided that I wanted to do my own little independent films. So I did something called Parasiter and Cigarettes. I spent a few years on that.
Yes.
And that was nominated for an Oscar back in 2017. And then that sort of led to the next thing, which was the Love, Death, and Robots. I don't think that would have happened if I hadn't have done Parasiter and Cigarettes. So the first Love, Death, and Robots occurred. And then I did the Belushi documentary, the animation in it, which came immediately after. And then right on the heels of that was the second season of Love, Death, and Robots, which we just finished a few months ago. And I was nominated. No, I won 2 Emmys for that.
Congrats on that.
For Ice. Well, our team did, but I got one for art direction. And you know what? I have not had a call for work ever since then. It's
wow.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought people were going to be offering all sorts of stuff. But so it's been really quiet. And, I sort of have taken that opportunity to try to push forward another independent film. which I've, kind of been working on for the last little while.
Been noticing that. Yes.
Now I'm at the point where I hope nobody ever calls me ever again. But the problem or the puzzle that I'm always trying to solve with working on my own stuff is how to make it financially sustainable.
Yes.
So, we can discuss that in more detail later, but this time I've kind of taken, because I've been approaching the same sort of puzzle from different angles. Mm-hmm. So now I have yet a new angle that I'm approaching it from, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Tyree, another colleague of mine, Tyree Mara, about that. We were going, yes, this is what I want to do, and yes, you're excited to work on your own stuff. And it's like, but where's the money coming in? And I was telling him, and I'll share this with you, and it might tie into what you're currently playing around with, as far as, because I've been following the thing that you're doing on YouTube, which we'll get into in a second. But I caught a lecture this guy was doing yesterday, and he was talking about where a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to make $10,000 a month, and I'm going like, hell yeah, I do, And so he said, instead of you focusing on that, switch your focus. Figure out, can you help 10,000 people per month? And I was just like, whoa. And because if you can figure that out, you'll definitely be making more than that. I was just like, that's an interesting idea.
That is an interesting idea.
Yeah, because it's just like, I never thought about it that way. Because it's like, especially coming from, and again, loving that you not only know how to do what you do, but the fact that you know how to teach it. And on what's the word? I'm an art snob, but I'm a bigger tutorial snob. So again, that's the other reason I love speaking with you and love watching your tutorials, because I've watched a lot of people's tutorials and I'm going like, what are they talking about? Why are they teaching up here? Bring it down here. Yeah. And you have a way of just going, oh, we're going to do this. I'm like, that makes sense. Cool. So the fact that approaching that is from a teaching standpoint of saying, instead of that whole 10K, as far as dollars going, can I reach 10,000 students? I'm like, that's deep as hell. Yeah. And
it's switching the focus, isn't it?
Yes. Part of me was going, I wish I knew that years ago, but at least I know it now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I guess I'm kind of, I'm trying not to worry about the money. And I'm not really worried about it. That's definitely not like the focus of it right now. I think I'm trying to build an audience is what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
And I mentioned this in one of my tutorials that I'm using like the UFC pay-per-view model, basically as kind of the structure for how I'm going about doing this, this is basically it. I'm going to offer up some free stuff.
Right.
They do that. They have the undercard, which is always free fights.
Right.
And then there's a certain point where there's a paywall, and Joe Rogan will come out and he'll go, this is going to be the best fight ever. Right, Dana? And Dana goes, I'm so excited about this, except you got to pay $60 to access the paid, because they got the main fight, which is usually going to be pretty good. And then the whole card's going to be stacked. And so I'm in sort of like the free undercard part of this whole thing right now.
Okay.
And basically, like I said, the idea behind that is just to create an audience. And I've been trying to populate my YouTube page. Mm-hmm. I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers right now, but I know that's kind of it's a modest number, I think, but it's okay. I think the people that this stuff is resonating with,
right,
are the people that have similar interests to me. They're sort of in a similar pursuit. They have an idea, and they want to take that idea and they want to realize it into a short film or something like this.
Right.
And so,
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so it's not like there's millions of people out there doing that. So it's probably like in the thousands, I would think. So,
Right.
like I said, I think I'm sort of making contact with those kind of people, and they're messaging me, and I think it's pretty cool. And I'm just kind of working on engagement, and I mean, I get in the habit of recording my desktop every time I work.
Right.
So you can imagine I'm starting to accumulate these enormous files.
Just a wee bit, yeah.
Yeah. And then, but I want to sort of capture, and it hasn't quite happened yet. I want to sort of capture, some pivotal moments in this production.
Right.
So I want to keep putting myself in the position where, and recording, and I'm working on it. And, so far it's gone pretty good, but I haven't really had any sort of standout kind of days that I think are really, that interesting yet.
Right.
But I'm hoping that'll happen at some point, catch that lightning in a bottle kind of thing.
I will share this with you. And even the stuff that you have up right now, you don't think that lightning in a bottle has happened yet, but it'll be the most mundane, boring thing. You're just like, oh, that? Because speaking as, I still get something I didn't even think about. Like, oh, by the way, here's how to do a simple transparency in this program. And I made some of these things like 7 years ago. And it's just like a quick little blip on one of my off days. And I'm saying this because I got an email because YouTube will let you know. And someone was saying like, oh my God, you just saved my bacon I just had to do this homework. Thank you. No one actually answered this. I'm like, wait. And so they would be like, why is this particular one? It's like you have no idea when it's going to hit. Yeah. So I think that's what's really cool about you grabbing everything there.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I'll share with you some of the tricks that I do to to record as much as possible, but still keep the file size not crazy big. And so,
you got some tips with that?
I do, yes.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I kind of, as I'm sort of assembling the edits with this stuff, occasionally I'll capture some stuff which it's sort of unsuccessful. Like I'll sort of pursue a drawing and then I finish it, and then I look at it after. I'm like, that's kind of funky. You got to walk away and come back. And then so I'll do it again, and then I'll record myself doing it again. And on one hand, I kind of want to sort of portray myself as just going from one successful image to another, like effortlessly, like, hey, this is easy,
Right.
But I want to sort of also demonstrate that I also struggle with my own stuff, because I think that's the true story, is that look, I fucked up this thing, but now I need to regroup, and I'm going to tackle it from a different angle, and I think that's also valuable.
It's extremely valuable, and that's what a lot of people you don't want. Especially if you're trying to inspire these people, because I used to think, because you would always see those Disney things or behind the scenes, and you're seeing people draw these beautiful lines. Well, here's how to draw this, and it's this beautiful one line thing. I'm like, yes. And so for the longest time, I kept trying to draw that beautiful line until I started looking at the books, and you notice how many sketches that they've done to get to that point, and like, oh, okay. And so you have to show where the errors are. And something on YouTube, that a little thing that people started doing. Here's one tip for you and anyone else who's watching. If you're doing YouTube videos, and I think we can almost thank Jackie Chan for this. If you're doing YouTube videos and you flub or misspeak during the recording, you got it edited, but at the end, have your bloopers, have your outtakes. It's like when all of a sudden you're working and your cat decides to reveal themselves as old in one eye right in the middle of your camera. Like, get out of here, cat. They pop that at the end of the video. Yeah, and it's the whole thing of where people are going to be watching, going, I want to catch the bloopers, because I know there's going to be something. Or and I guess currently, what is it? marvel at the end of everyone's waiting for after the credits to go, what little sneaky thing are they going to pop up and tell us about?
Yeah. Well, my son walked into one of my recordings at the end of it, and I just kept it in there, and I think people they kind of appreciated like that kind of moment of like reality, whatever reality is here, that's those distractions and all that kind of stuff. So, it is what it is.
It's like years ago, when I was a professor, they had I think ILM had come through, and they were talking about all these different things, and so I asked the question that I was like, does ILM ever have to deal with the fact that you have this perfect idea, but the client goes, no, we want it this way? And because students deal with that all the time, but here's ILM. I'm going, surely ILM doesn't have this problem. And they're like, oh my God, yes. And so it's like kind of cool that, yes, they have these issues too. Or yes, they're human too. Yes, they're actually dealing with that. The fact that you're dealing with the like, yes, I've got all this time to work on things. How do I keep it financially viable? It's like, Robert Valley also has this problem. Cool. So it's like that nice little connection moment, that the common denominator.
That's exactly it. I'm not sort of approaching this from the point of view of like, oh, I know how to do this, and I'm going to like impart all my knowledge on how to do this successfully. It's more like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to manage my YouTube channel. I'm still figuring out like, how to hashtag stuff in my social media. And people have been talking about Patreon, and I tried to assemble that, but I just kind of put it aside for now. But, this is all part of the learning curve if I want to make this financially sustainable. But, a lot of people have been giving me advice on how to manage this stuff, So it's kind of like this. I mean, I know how to draw and I can animate, but there's a lot of other things that are part of the whole process that I don't know. So I'm figuring it out. And, that's sort of like the interesting sort of give and take that's happening right now.
It's I think that it's the funny thing. Somebody posted a meme where it's like, you're trying to be not only the artist, but you've got to be your social media manager and your web designer. And it's like all these different things. And people and it's like, you have no idea how much you went into this one little thing.
Oh yeah. No, I got someone to redesign my webpage. So I'm starting off like $5,000 in the hole right now.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, but it was necessary, kind of thought that it's time to blow the dust off that old web page and make it more dynamic,
Coolness.
So
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You're talking about the current project, permanent damage, I believe.
Yep.
So how does the production pipeline on permanent damage vary from hair cider and cigarettes, or is it any different?
Oh, yeah, it's very similar. In fact, all these projects start off in a similar kind of way. So, the order is the script. And in the case of Pear Cider, in the case of Zima Blue, I didn't write that script, but there was a script. And Ice script. But now I'm working from some scripts that I've written. Permanent Damage is a little short story. And so that's sort of like that's the map, that I know I can follow that. So what happens immediately after that are the thumbnail drawings. And I put a lot of importance on those thumbnail drawings. If you look at any project, whether it's, any one of those projects that I just listed there, and I showed you the thumbnails and the final, the way it looks in the final edit, you can see traces of those thumbnails that in the final version of it. So if I have those kind of squared away in the composition, the gesture, in some cases, it has kind of a skewed, kind of weird kind of look to it, which is a lot easier to do when you're working small,
right,
than when you're working big. And that's something I learned a long time ago, is that if you were to add all your pencil mileage together, if every little line that you put on a piece of paper and you add that all together, usually, you're only capable of doing so much pencil mileage in a given day.
right.
But if you scale that drawing down, you're able to cover a lot more mileage a lot quicker, So I have a tendency to work with these very, fine pencils, these 0.3s right here. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of being as accurate as you can, working fairly small, little drawings like that. And that always sort of gets me kind of ahead of the game early on. So I spent, I put the time in to those thumbnails, and then after that, then it's a matter of scanning the thumbnails and formatting it, in the 1920 by 1080 aspect ratio.
Right.
And then, then it's a matter of working the edits and extrapolating the layouts from there. That's the point where, in the case of my own production, I'm going to have to continue on the pipeline probably by myself. Or if there's a crew involved, that's the point where, you can start handing off scenes to people. And in an ideal world, there's enough time in the schedule that I can sort of comfortably do the layouts and sort of hand them off in some sort of organized way. But, production is never an organized thing. At the best of times, it's a shitstorm, and there's always the shoe's going to drop somewhere. And that was the case, with both Zima Blue and Ice. We kind of went into kind of like we recorded all the voices, and that's kind of a long process to cast all the voices and record them. And, everybody's schedule, because we're all in different time zones, it takes a while to sort of, especially with COVID and all this, to organize these recording sessions remotely. And so we had that. And then Tim thought, what? In Ice, he didn't think the accents were working because we tried to sort of create an off-world accent for people to be talking.
Right.
And we actually had like a voice sort of coach to come in and sort of coach this kind of off-world accent. Mm-hmm. And it was weird. You know what I mean? Because everybody had to sort of speak in this kind of way. It was a little bit Russian. She sort of like picked and chose these sort of different sort of ways of affecting the way people speak. And that happened, and we recorded the voices, and Tim thought, that sounds funky, man. And so he thought, let's go with like Portuguese. Let's just cast Portuguese actors. And that's what we did. So then we had to go through another stage of recasting all these like Portuguese actors. That's not a huge pool of people, right? So a lot of them are in London. I guess there's a Portuguese population in London, but others were kind of remote. And so we kind of found this pretty great sort of cast of people. And then you got to record it. But to make a long story short, that put my layouts behind schedule about 2 months.
Oh, wow.
And, the deadline doesn't change. The deadline stays here. And people's start dates don't change either, because, you're promising them work, you've lined them up, and they're due to start on a certain day. You can push them back, a few days or a week, but, people are banking on having this employment. So basically I'm doing layouts and I'm just feeding the crew, and more people are starting on the job. And it was, that's the way it went. So not ideal, man. Not ideal. You're kind of, it's nice to have them all sort of done, and you look at it in the edit, and you can go through and maybe finesse them a little bit, but there's no time for that stuff. So
that is stressful. Crazy. Yeah, So you're telling me about the thing, and I'm going, but dude, I thought the accents worked. I'm like, and then you're telling me, oh, that's what you did. That's cool.
Yeah, no, Tim
awesome.
made the right call at the end of the day. It was a painful one, but it was the correct one. And this is something that Charlie Bean, the director on Tron Uprising, he was all full of all sorts of great insight. And one time he said, a production is only as good as its weakest link, right? And think about it. You can have great designs and all the visuals can be great, but if the music sucks, that's only going to be as good as the weakest link.
Right.
Or if the compositing is no good, that's as good as it's going to be. If the voice recording is not great, or you know what I mean? It's
right.
It'll only be as good as that. So it was worth getting it right at the end of the day.
I think the biggest argument I always have with people is there are a lot of shows, and I won't name them because I know too many people that may or may not work on them. But it feels like a lot of shows are dialing it in with respect to the animation aspect of it or the voice talent aspect of it. And they're like, oh, no, it's all about the story. And I'm going, way before we had computers, like back in Bugs Bunny and all those other things, they didn't have any of that stuff. They were able to pull off story, animation, like music, and everything was balanced. And I think a lot of times people keep taking the shortcut. And with today's technology, like you can actually pull off a full studio in your own computer. But they're going, oh, it's only about the story. And like, so I definitely agree on that whole, like, it's only as strong as its weakest link. And there's this beautiful balance to a lot of the pieces that you're doing, which it's, again, it's always one of those things like, what are you up to now? What are you doing? I want to see. So I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah. Well, I like to be involved in every different aspect of production.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of, that's why I like to work on the shorter stuff. Probably the longest I could probably manage is the 10 or 11 minute Love, Death, and Robots stuff. So, TV series and feature films, that gets pretty unwieldy, when you start to get dozens of people on the job.
Right.
And, I like to, even on the ice production, we probably had like 30 people at one given point working on that production. And that was getting pretty unwieldy, man. That was, a lot of coordination, because the way I see it, look, if you're on the job, you're on the job.
Right.
We're not going to fire anybody. So, we go through people's portfolios and we set up the work and then you're on the job. And, everybody struggles a little bit at the beginning of any job, because it's a bit of a stylistic sort of leap, and this is something I say to the coordinators, which, it doesn't make any sense on paper. It makes no sense. But this is the way every production goes. Collectively, the whole crew does it wrong for about half the job. And it doesn't make any sense. But on the second half of the job, everybody's doing it right. And then once everybody is doing it right, then you start to churn through the whole production. So, it definitely, it's kind of, that definitely causes a freak out for the coordinators when it's just like, hey, we're several weeks into this and we're not getting any scenes approved. This is starting to be like a real problem. And I don't know, I'm just like, yeah, I know, but we've been down this road before. And, don't worry, because we got the pros on here. And we know that when things start to go, all the cylinders start to go, we'll get through it.
Cool.
How? Why? The question is why? How do you know? There's no guarantee. And I'm like, you're right. There's no guarantee. I'm betting on something that I can't guarantee, but I know it's going to happen. So I don't know, man.
I'm loving this. I'm loving the sound of that because it's like, what is it? Oh my gosh, everything from and don't egg me on this one. It's like it's the power of positive thinking and or the what is it? the law of attraction, The Secret, and everything. Like, no, this is what's going to happen. Like, how? I don't know. I just know this is what's going to happen. Yeah. And it's just to get there. And I don't know if you go through this, but I'm like, I'll say that a lot of times. And meanwhile, in my head, I've still got 5,000 voices going, dude, how? We don't know. It's going to work out, man. Yeah. Yeah, it always does. And it shouldn't, but it does. But, there's a lot of heavy lifting to do to get it there. And, I don't know, man. I sort of think there's something about group energy, and when like a group of people, when they're all sort of like working towards the same goal, it's sort of, that's when, you can start to churn through the work pretty quickly. It's like a hockey team. It's exactly like a hockey team, right? That, yeah. You can't take the puck and you can't go end to end. You can, but that's not how you play hockey. You have to pass. You have to engage the other players on your team, and because that's when you start to move the puck around the ice a lot faster than just one guy skating down the ice. You can cover a lot more ground. So, what I've been doing like lately is sort of focusing on, using that hockey analogy again. It's the handing off of one person to another. Mm-hmm. So I've been sort of like leaning more towards a smaller crew. Because I'm convinced that a smaller crew can do as much work as a big crew, as long as you have a bit of extra time in the schedule, right? So I'm always asking for just a little bit more time in the schedule, just so that we can keep the crew down, to, a manageable number. And for me, that's like 5 or 6 people. And we can do it, man. We can go through a lot of work. But everybody has to reach a little bit further in order to sort of for the pipeline to dovetail into each other. Right. So in other words, the animator, he needs to reach a little bit further and prepare the scenes a little bit more for assisting, and the assistants need to sort of also reach a little bit further, and that kind of eliminates kind of a middle person here. And the less people that are involved in handing off of work, the less chance there is of misinterpreting stuff, because that always happens. I mean, I could have the clearest drawing in the world, which to me is so clear, and I hand it over to somebody, right? And I'm like, "Do you get it?" They're like, "Yeah, I totally get it." And they start working on it, and it looks totally different when they're done with it. Yes, because everybody's like that. Everybody sees what they need to see, or what I don't know. So. It's like what is that? The little exercise where you got several people, and they're each person is drawing on the other person's back. And it's like, this is what I want. And so they're like, okay, so I think this is it. So it's like this line of 5 or 6 people, and you see the final vision going, that is not at all what we had planned out. Yeah. Well, that's why I really like to get those layouts really nailed down before I hand them off, because that's basically going to keep everybody on track, and it reduces all sorts of wheel spinning. So I'm curious, your thumbnails, are you using like Post-its or postcards, or what do you usually use? I use just Xerox paper, and I got a big stack of paper right here, and yeah, I got it. Yeah. Okay, so this is like that Apex job that I did for that video game thing. Okay. So it's just little thumbnails like that. Pretty small, but the compositions are in there. The staging, the sort of gestures for the acting is all kind of in there. Once you get into it, they start to be able to put more detail in. Right. You got to get on a bit of a roll. And if you look at the final thing and you look at these thumbnails, that's it right there. It's a bit like, have you seen that Beatles documentary that's been going around lately? Yes, I have. Or at least I've started watching it now. It's kind of the same thing, because, at one point, I haven't watched the whole thing, but I saw something on Vimeo, on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Paul McCartney's there, and he starts writing like the beginning stages of Get Back or something, and he's just going, and it doesn't sound like anything, right? Right.
but it's only meaningful because you know what it's going to be.
Right.
And so you kind of hear the recognizable sort of beginning of the song, and sort of like it's sometimes a chorus comes in and it goes off in a different direction, but it's fascinating because it's only fascinating because you know where it's going to go. But right. if you were to stop right there at the beginning stages of it,
yes,
then it's nothing. It's just like a sketch, just like that, right? So
I think that's what's the beauty of where for geeks like us, where like here's the art of books that are out now. Like you can get of this particular show or movie, and it's like, yes, I want to see all the stuff that didn't make it, or how does this get here? Or by the way, this character used to have this color hair. It's like, oh wow, that would have been cool. Yeah. Just to see where everything started from. So it's pretty awesome. That, and I've got to send you a link to this if you haven't seen it already. Nile Rodgers is talking about a conversation that he had with David Bowie. Yeah. And it's like David Bowie's, he's working on, I think it's Let's Dance. Yeah. And it's like David Bowie, and he says, he comes through with this thing, and the thing originally sounds like a folk song. And Nile Rodgers just takes it. He says, well, then I did this, and then I did this. But when you hear the original thing, you're like, I sort of hear something in there, but man, it's just really cool to see that. And again, I'm glad that you and others are sharing that aspect, because again, I go in going, I'm just going to make this perfect thing. And it's like not realizing there's sketches and stuff before that.
Yeah. And that's exactly where I'm at with this little film that I'm working on right now is, I started working on the edit last night and this morning. Mm-hmm. And now actually I started to drop in the voiceover and now some music. And now I'm starting to sort of see what it is for the first time. You know what I mean? I'm starting to see how long it is, how many scenes are involved. I'm getting a sort of an idea for the flow of it and the animation. And I'm kind of thinking, it's pretty weird, man. It's pretty weird, but I'm okay with that. I think weird is good. I don't want to. I don't care about Oscars. I don't care about film festivals. I'm just going to lean right into weird on this one and see where it goes.
I'm loving that, man. It's like, I think when you start aiming for that, I think it manipulates the craft and the art, but not in a good way. And you have to be careful. Well, this is in, and they really like this. And it's like, no, let me just go for this weird thing and see where it goes.
Well, let me ask you this. You've seen a couple of those little, I guess I'm calling them updates or tutorials about this film. Now, look, like I said, I'm working on the edit. It's basically like the bare bones of the whole thing with the voiceover and the music. So I'm a little bit torn at this point because part of me, I want to be transparent. I want to share every stage of the pipeline of this production, right? Which would mean sharing, this. Mm-hmm. But does that take away from actually sort of seeing the end result for the first time? You know what I mean? Like
I don't think it does. And the argument I always had with my late mentor, Lou Hertz, I would say, because when they'll show the behind the scenes, it's for, as he would say, the great unwashed. It's not for you and I. But the behind the scenes of the average animation or something like that, it is at this level, and it's for people who are like, oh, that's how animation is made. I was always curious about that. Yeah. But we are going, okay, well, like you're talking about the type of mechanical pencil you're using. That's interesting to us. So it's like, and I'm asking you about, well, wait a minute, what are you doing your thumbnails on? The average person doesn't care about that. So when you're talking about you're building your fan base for this, and it's I forgot who the person is, and I'll pop it in the thing, but it's called 1,000 True Fans. And it's talking about if you have 1,000 true fans, you don't need millions of followers. If you have 1,000 true fans, these are the people that are like, dude, he just came out with a recipe for chocolate chip cookies. I'm buying that recipe. Whatever it is,
Yes.
I know he's an animator, but I bet he makes a mean cookie. So it's like whatever that is. So I would dare argue your 1,000 true fans care about that information more than you know. So I don't think it takes away from. I think it adds to it.
Yeah.
Like I love, for lack of a better reference, I love watching the regular show. If for nothing else, then the characters say dude a lot. I love that. So I'm watching that animation, and then I was watching it's a Bird Brain. She did a book review. I didn't even know there was a book. It's like, oh, here's the art of this. I'm like, sold. It's like I'm running over to Amazon right now because I want to look at every aspect of how that came to be. Yeah. So I think, especially now, because I hated when DVDs kind of went away, because like the super ones always had the behind the scenes and not just a little 5-minute thing. Yeah. But places are starting to do it now. Let's say, what is it? Disney Plus, they just came out with one of their movies, but now they've got something called, I don't know if it's called Revealed or something weird, but they'll have these 1 hour plus documentaries on, by the way, this is how this was made. Yeah. And it's not the low-hanging fruit that's for the average person. It's for the people who are really into this. Yeah. So I think animators are a special breed, and animators and artists are a special breed. It's like, and to find out, here's how you went through this. Here are the struggles you had. Now, don't get me wrong. Is it going to appeal to everyone? No. The people the everyone's, as it were, are going to want to watch the full thing without watching the other part of it. They don't really care about the other part. We do. So that's my answer.
The analytics on these videos, it's like there's a graph showing watch hours. Yes, and people are like there for the first like 30 seconds or a minute, and then it drops down to like 5%, and then those are the people that watch it all the way through. Right. You know, so maybe I don't need to be concerned about revealing too much, because people are going to be there and watch it because they want to watch it. Right. But there's the people that aren't interested, who might want to wait for the finished thing. Yes. They're just going to drop out right away anyways.
Correct. It's like or like when people do, I think it was MST3K, I want to say that they were saying this, they'll drop off jokes here and there. And they'll say, we don't say who's going to get this. We go, no, the right people will get this. They'll understand it. And it's like, and they just keep going. They don't wait. It's like, you got it. It's cool. We're moving on, and just keep going from there. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, you know what? It's pretty fun. I don't know. It's good times. You know what? I love it, man. I love having my own like YouTube channel. And because I just fucking say whatever I want to say. Yes. Yes. And it's yeah. And this little film of mine, I just decided I'm going to make the main character Keith Richards. Why not? And I might stick Lemmy in there. Yes. And I was thinking about just because I'm not going to distribute this film. Right. You know, nobody's going to pick it up. I'm not going to make any money doing it. So who the fuck is going to sue me? This is just free work. I mean, I might make some money in the making of the film in the form of educational stuff. Right. Maybe I might make money in the form of YouTube monetization or selling the tutorials. But the actual finished product, I don't see that making any money at all. So why don't I just do whatever the fuck I want? You know? I feel completely liberated right now. Yes. I'm like, I can totally do and say whatever I want.
That's a really cool thing of when you are calling the shots, and you literally have to remind yourself, like, wait a minute, what am I worried about this for? I'm going to do this. Like, I feel like doing this. Just go for it.
I'm not ashamed of anything. Anything that comes out of my brain or my mouth, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to stick it on the wall, and some of it's going to slide right off, and some of it will stick. I don't care. I don't care what people think anymore. It's a fucking great feeling, man. I don't care if you follow my page or subscribe or I don't fucking give a fuck. I'm just going to keep going. That's how I feel. I don't know if that's going to equal money, but once you take money out of the equation, right, then it's like, this is a great feeling, man.
Loving it. And it's like I said, I'm wondering, what is it? What is it? It's like I almost see that the behind the scenes of this is like Robert Valley Unbound. it's like
I'm on episode 6 right now, but at some point I'm going to be on episode 100.
Yes.
I'm going to be on episode 100. And, whatever this is right now, the first episode was called Nothing. And I'm surprised anybody clicked on a link that says nothing.
Yes.
Because there's nothing there. And I said, basically, I'm saying, this is the first day of my project, and this is what it looks like. It's just a white piece of paper, and that's what it is. And then the second episode, I went from nothing to something in one episode. And then, but I am totally, completely fascinated with this idea of turning nothing into something. Because something exists at the end of the day that didn't exist at the beginning of the day.
Right. All right, and we're back. So that was Robert Valley. Sorry, I didn't give you a warning ahead of time. Like I said, I wasn't about to censor Robert because it was like he was talking about how free it was. Wait a minute, did I not put that in there? Hold on. Hold on, I can tell you that exactly. Because I know the new YouTube page he just did is wow, hold on. It's like I could have sworn I put that in there. I will tell you in a second. Massive Swerve. Like if you look up Robert Valley Massive Swerve. I'll put it up here in a second. Yeah, Rob is awesome. It's a weird. Actually, it's like, I don't think he has a. I don't think he has enough people to put the name there through there yet. No. Yes. Yes, it was. Yeah, I was trying to keep a straight. Well, there's no keeping a straight face on that. Like the last few minutes of Robert's interview, F-bombs. Like, yes, that was. That was awesome. Yes, it is. You thought it was Massive Swerve. Yes, it is Massive Swerve. If you look up Robert Valley Massive Swerve, I want to say that's the thing of it right now. But yes, please subscribe to his channel. He's only got a few people, and tell other people, because I'm sure if y'all didn't know that his channel was out there, other people didn't know. Cool. Thank you for subbing, Skipper Wing. Okay. The talk is clicking as far as Tony's voice, so let's do some more stuff. Let me pull up. Okay. Harmony Premium winners, and this is for a annual license to Harmony Premium. Renee Waters, Lolito Scano, Kay Luna, I think Ian Swan, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, I think it's an I, and Light Furry 90. I'm going to have to start putting a thing in where people put their real names, but anyway, I have the emails of these people. I'll be sending you out an email that'll say, hey, you've actually won this. Be sure to respond so we can actually send that to you. And keep an eye on emails that are coming out for next week, because we'll be posting when the full-length videos are posted. Also, I'll be posting where the playlist for this week is going to be, because it's not actually up yet. But the full playlist of this week, as well as Each of the interviews without the uncut uncut. I won't say unedited. But like the full interviews, like for instance, I know Ollie's is like 90 minutes. Robert Valley's is actually longer than what you saw today. It's like because each of the interviews, I did finally figured out this week that each of the interviews you're watching we kind of capped it at about 45 minutes. So, meanwhile, so yes, Harmony, Renee Waters, Lolita Scatto, Kaluna, Ian Swan, and like Perry 90. I'll be shooting out some emails to these people. Respond to those. You're gonna pretty much have to get back to me by Tuesday. Otherwise, we gotta throw out and see if we can get some more people in. So that's there. Next up, I am going to do. I'm going to close this out. We have some Welcome Into a Smalls to give away. And that is going to Joanne Antoine and Jasmine Cooper, Roya, and I think that's Shahidi, I hope, and Silly Puppy Blue. Those are the Welcome Into a Smalls and regular one. All right. Let me move that down here for a minute. Wanted to give an update to a question I asked earlier this week. I tried on the Opera Pro as option to export transfer, and it worked perfectly. Thanks, Tony. That's good to hear. I was like, I'm reading through this going, oh, please don't tell me it failed. So I'm glad it worked, dude. That's awesome. Oh, wow. Okay. I have... Give me one quick second. We have... Let me think. Some Welcome Ones to give away. Where's my list? La 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 la. Da 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 da. All right. So I am going through our software that's pulling up random numbers and people. Well, not random numbers, but pretty much from the playlist, mailing list, one of those lists. So yeah, in theory, as soon as my voice finishes healing, yeah, we probably should go ahead and start doing a little what's the thing I'm thinking about? Podcast, because there were a couple of people who shall remain nameless, Lamont Russ, who were supposed to actually catch up with me this week that did not. Lamont Russ, aka Logan. Okay. All right. So got almost one more. I'm trying to pull up the final name here. Give me a second. I'm trying to remember. Did I take my medicine today? I am so lightheaded. Oh, da, 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 da. Trying to think. I think I might take some part of Robert's idea and do that whole thing of like the next project that I'm working on. Just kind of make it a little live journey, because there's a music video that I want to do. Did I not do that already? Am I tripping? Why did I see that name? Words? No, you already have that name. Duh. It's having some weird issues with my program here. So if you're wondering exactly what is Tony doing right now, Tony is actually going through and using software to randomly pick names for our winners. So it's a lot of fun. And probably works a lot better when I'm not lightheaded. So while I'm at it, let me give a warm thank you to all of our panelists for volunteering their time and just kind of like dealing with me, talking over their questions. Thanks so much. Couldn't have done the summit without you. Huge shout out to our sponsors, both Wacom and sorry to say Storyboard. Both Wacom and Toon Boom for their help, and it's been pretty awesome getting this thing done. Yike! No, dude. Okay. So now we're giving away some Wacom ones. Giving away 4 of those in a second. Yeah. Very grateful and humbled that Wacom stepped up to the plate and said, "Yeah, here, give them some stuff." I'm like, "Thank you. That was awesome." So. Overlays. Okay, let me do a new overlay. Where did that thing go? If it makes any of y'all feel better, because if you're listening to what my voice sounded like at the beginning of this week versus currently, you'll understand that, yeah, Tony probably needs to go back to bed. Alright, let me drop this down for a minute. Yoink. Alright, so that was our Wacom Intuos. That was, then again, we'll be sending out these emails. And just be sure to get responses to us by Tuesday. Especially with Wacom, but actually also with Toon Boom. When we send the thing, will be a little form that you do need to put in your name and address. It's like if you're saying, "Do I have to put my address?" If you want hardware from Wacom, because it's gonna have to be mailed to you. Yeah. Okay. Let me. Am I tripping? Where did that thing go? I just had one of those. Really? I lost something. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Sorry. Don't mind me. Okay. Wacom ones. Felicia Harper, Mike Bashore, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, Leanne Chambers, and Jennifer Swan. So, if you have, by the way, if y'all have no idea what a Wacom one is, it's really, it's like a Cintiq, but it's just like kind of a start off like a really basic, oh wow, pen tablet where you're drawing directly on the screen. So, it's a Wacom one. I've got one more thing to give away from Wacom, so hold your horses. I'm going to be getting ready to give away a Cintiq 16. So, la da 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 da. Okay, let me think. What am I looking for? Okay, words. I am looking for. Man, feels like my voice is getting worse. Hold on. Excuse me. Now, the thing I have two classes to give away shortly in a second here, and these are classes that are going to be coming up. Wow, these are classes that are the semester that's happening. I think in January. From Tim Boom's classes that are going to be coming up. All right. All right. So we have our winner for our 16-inch Cintiq. Yike. Why is my screen working weird? Hit cancel. Why is that weird? I'm seeing so many things on my screen right now. Okay. Wow. That didn't come out at all. Okay, the winner of our, the winner of the Cintiq 16-inch Cintiq is Edwina Owens Elliott, and that ends for our Wacom giveaways. I have 2 classes left to give away, and that will be the end of our summit. So give me one moment. Pull some more random names out of a hat here. Hope you have a great holiday season. And Tony, thanks for another great summit. Barry, thanks. I appreciate it. You have a great holiday as well. All right. So last but not least, we are getting. I'm going to give away some classes here. Come on. Okay. So one of the first winners, if I can find her name. Thank you. Why does that keep doing that? Cut. All right. So Winnie May, I'm guessing that's Mai. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, is one of our winners. And I've got one more to do. And then I believe we're going to be doing these via, you'll be contacting to see what classes actually make and going from there. Oh, excuse me. This is all weird. All right, and our last winner for today oh, excuse me. Why is your interweb going so slow? And you're welcome. This has been eye-opening. Looking forward to the next summit. Ashley, thanks so much. Like I said, I think a lot of people got some really good thoughts on really pushing us to where it's going to be a podcast, probably scale down throughout the year, and then just kind of blow up on the for the next year's summit. So we'll see. All right. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to go over here and get this last name posted up. Really? Where aren't you working? Come here. So I'm getting this last little whatchamacallit set up right here. All right. Quit it. And our class winners are, and we'll be shooting out your email. Winnie May, I believe that's May, and Judge Public, aka Kathleen. We'll be sending out an email to you on how you can claim your classes and how that's going to work out. These are from Toon Boom, our other sponsor. Thank you. Congrats. Get some rest, Wolfman. Ha! Podcast and pre-recorded, please. Sure. Okay. That's hilarious. So yeah, the Toon Boom class is coming up this next semester, or I'm calling it a semester, but I know they're going to be in January, so we'll be shooting an email and figuring out how you can actually claim those classes, and going from there. Yes, congrats to all the winners, and again, thank you again to our sponsors. I am humbled. I can't even express how awesome it is. Shout out to I won't say I won't call any last names or who they're with, but you know who you are. A shout out to Melissa. A shout out to Stephanie. And thank you for all the help you all did with this sponsorships and everything. That was really awesome. So, meanwhile, yeah, this is it's gonna be me signing off. This is the close of the third year. I will. I can't. I'd be lying if I didn't say several times. I was like, you know what? Why don't I just not do this year? Because we did have to move it twice, but hopefully, it's in talks. It's loose talks, but we might actually be doing another full summit in March. But worst case scenario, it'll be in October. Best case scenario, there may be another one in March. We'll see. But it's been real, and thank you all for chiming in. It's really cool to see that people do appreciate this, because I didn't really see that much out there like this, because this year we did a lot more talks than we did of demos. So, and I try to ask questions that I don't see a lot of people asking. So hopefully y'all appreciate it. Let me know what you think. Some of y'all are already friends with me on Facebook. Oh yeah, let me do a quick shout out to there is not shout out, but if you're on Facebook, there's like a Toon Boom social club or social community where we actually are normally just trading out different information and stuff like that. So you can catch me there. Yeah. So yeah, this is Tony Ross signing off for the third year, and thank you. Seems like, no, doesn't seem like yesterday, because it's been a long journey. So thank you for helping me get this third year under wraps, and that's us signing off for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit. Keep it simple, make it perfect. If you don't have time to make it perfect, rethink the idea. Have a good one. Da, 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 da.